Instructional materials on good agricultural practices. 3. Event alerts and invites from Farm Kenya and partners. 4. Latest news in agriculture from across the country. And 5. Direct feedback from a pool of experts on queries. No matter where you are, getting all the useful information is as easy as visiting farmers.co.ke. Sign up and make that online connection the base of your on-ground success. Farm Kenya, working to secure your growth.
Kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
This is KTN News.
Let's talk a little bit about the passengers that have been coming in, and that was, of course, we've seen the flights that brought in Kenyans in the past week from London, from Mumbai as well, from Guangzhou as well. So what was it like organizing this in terms of your role, and what was essential?
For us, we've had these several flights coming in from different countries as we fly Kenyans back home, as I indicated much earlier. And we are the key coordinators because the airport basically coordinates all the other government functions. And as guided by the ministry protocols on coronavirus and all that, we have made sure that we have made necessary arrangements to make it very explicit that nobody will be infected within this handling within the airport at the various customer touchpoints. So we had a lot of them coming in. We had several stakeholders who were working with us to see this through. We got support from various ministries, first from our own ministry and our board of directors. We had the Minister of Tourism who came in a very big way, arranging to get hotel accommodation for quarantine of these arriving Kenyans. We had the Port Health who were doing the necessary screening as all these Kenyans were coming back home. We had the police coordinating, the National Youth Service, they provided all the transport, all these passengers. So the key role that Kenya Airports Authority and ourselves as an airport were playing was to see that there was seamless processing of these passengers so that we give them a good experience as we welcome them back home.
Clearly, it must have been very multifaceted. A lot goes into that, I'm sure. So when we talk about the fact that they had to have their test results and things like that, what kind of measures do you see coming forth when things do normalize, when it comes to sanitation, perhaps even distance between passengers in passenger flights and things like that? What is your outlook? Because a lot of people have been predicting very, varied changes in the airline industry when all this is hopefully behind us.
Indeed, it is true. We're expecting a lot of changes going forward. And basically, first of all, it's basically an adoption of what the minister has been saying over and over again about social distancing and exclusive use of PPEs so that we minimize any contact and the possibilities of infection. But as an industry, already we have seen innovations, and some of the other countries and the various aviation regulatory bodies like the International Civil Aviation Authority and the Airport Council International, they are coming up with procedures and guidelines that will try to regulate and harmonize the experience across all the airports going forward. We look at a couple of challenges that we're going to be facing in the new normal, as we put it these days. We have to look at possibly enforcing social distancing by providing ground markings. This would mean that now we're expecting very long queues, and this will affect the experience in our airports. We are also looking at blanking some seats so that we also accomplish social distancing within our facilities, like airports, the terminal themselves and boarding lounges. This will inevitably reduce the capacity of these facilities.
So would that lead to a price hike naturally? Most
possibly, and the same will also be replicated, obviously, with the airlines themselves. We have seen an example of Emirates. They're trying to see how they can change the seating arrangement to be able to accomplish this. So if you reduce the passenger load in the aircraft, then inevitably that cost has to be passed to somebody else, and that person will be the passenger, unfortunately. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. When we look at all sectors of the economy, of course, we've seen them taking a hit, but particularly CS Ukur Yatani for Treasury, he downgraded the country's 2020 economic growth outlook to between 1.8 to 2.5% from the 6 that was pre-COVID, sorry. So, the stoppage of international passenger travel has been one of the factors cited for this slowdown because tourism takes a massive hit and the likes. So what's your take on the bounce back for other sectors in relation to airlines?
Basically, we all understand the key role that the aviation sector plays and how much this industry contributes into the GDP of this country. Tourism has taken the highest hit Even the manufacturing sector, of course, the flow of raw materials is not as fast as it has always been. So we're looking at a cross-cutting element of impact on the economy and industries, because travel is the key thing that is connecting people across the entire globe.
So what has it been in terms of the human resource element when it comes to operations at JKIA? You're operating, I'm sure, at much less capacity compared to your regular. And how have you managed to balance that out for your employees? Are they on mandatory leave? What does it look like?
KIA went with a different model that was discussed and approved by the board of directors and our line ministry, looking at the scaling down of operations. Then obviously that spells out that we don't require everybody to be here. So what we have done is, first of all, to ask our colleagues who still had unutilized leave days to first of all proceed on leave. And then we have changed our shift patterns. So operating from a 3-way shift to 4-way shift, now we're extending to doing a 6-way shift so that we can have long days away from work, so we don't compromise on social distancing amongst other requirements and measures as spelled out by the Minister of Health on the management of this COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, and you still have fire, security, ground flight safety personnel, of course, on the ground. And just give us an overview of the measures taken, to safeguard them against the possibility of COVID-19.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a couple of recommendations and guidelines that have been provided by our own Minister of Health, which we have taken very seriously, including whatever we're getting from the World Health Organization. And our safety department has been very proactive in providing the necessary PPEs as guided. And as I just indicated, we have sent some of our colleagues on leave, and we are working on a rotation basis so that we don't really start to congest our working areas. So we're struggling to make sure that we maintain high levels of hygiene. We're providing a very timely provision of our PPEs, and we make sure also that these PPEs are utilized as we have been sensitized to do that. We have done a lot of sensitization. In fact, I think we were among the first organizations in Kenya when this disease was announced globally to start a sensitization, all the airport stakeholders. So we have records for everybody, including taxi drivers, these F&B providers in the airport, our own staff. So we did an extensive sensitization program together with the Port Health, and this is a continuous process for us. So we are doing whatever we can to make sure that whenever they are here at the place of work, we provide the necessary resources and the guidance to make sure that we do not compromise and get the disease. In fact, it is commendable that up to this point in time, noting that everybody passed through this airport, we have no reported case at the airport.
That's definitely good news. Even as we wrap up, just your hopes for what you hope to see in the short term, at least when it comes to the scenario, and hopefully what your particular airport contingency plan is when things do start to normalize.
Actually, we have had a conversation between ourselves internally. We have engaged with our board of directors and our line ministry, the Minister of Transport. Beyond that, we have some peers in the industry, and we are seeing what is happening globally. The International Civil Aviation Organization is also providing guidance material. We are working on that. We have a whole team that is looking at implementing measures to ensure that we do not fall back as we prepare for resumption. You will notice that just yesterday I did release a letter myself inviting all the airport stakeholders so that we look at post-corona. What do we need to do? And I'm even aware that it's trending in social media, but then that is an internal document so that we prepare ourselves. By the time we are resuming operations, we are ready. And we want to assure our airport stakeholders and airport users that we are up to speed. We are preparing. We're doing a lot of maintenance on the facilities. We're improving everything that we can during this time. We are taking advantage of the current lull that is there in the industry and the quietness in the airport. As you can hear, it's so quiet to make sure we do the most. So we expect to surprise them by the time they're getting back to the airport as we resume operations.
So when we walk in post-corona, we're going to see a whole different setup. We're going to be very,
yes,
new.
There'll be a wow effect when you come back.
Okay, we look forward to that, of course. And thank you so much for speaking to us, Abel.
Most welcome. Thank you.
as you can see, emptiness all over. But we got so many insights from Abel Gogo as to exactly what's happening at JKIA, how they're preparing to take on the future post the coronavirus. I'm sure passengers everywhere, people all over the world are hoping to be able to fly sometime in the future, and we keep that hope alive. Thank you for watching The Trading Bell. I'm Malika Kazia. Keep up with us on our social media handles that are appearing on your screen. Once again, my name is Malika Kazia.
This is KTN News.